says it's recording. Do me a favor, guys. Type something in the chat. I'm not going to pull some douchey webinar move like, hey, type one in the chat if you're excited. Just type something just so I can make sure you guys can hear me.
All right. What's up, guys? What's up, Will Hatton?
Will Hatton. I have a new name. Actually, I was called the Willy Bomb earlier. According, like you have your traffic boner thing. According to one of my mascot or girls, I guess it was the before and after the Willy Bomb, so that was kind of weird. I don't see anything in the chat, so I want to make sure people can hear us. Somebody type something into the chat or into questions. Cool. Yes, you're good. I can hear. Cool. Awesome, guys. Okay, cool. So if you don't know, this is Brian Willey from Local Client Takeover, and this is going to be a ton of fun. Again, I apologize if we maxed out super fast. There's a lot of demand for Mr. Diggity here. So bottom line is my friend Matt here recently said publicly on his wall that basically, and I agree with this statement because I've been practicing this, to really get good at something, especially SEO, you've got to help others get good, right? And I really believe that. You really have to go out there and just give back, because the more, if you can learn it yourself, but to teach is a totally different thing, right? When you can convey what that meaning really is, that's when you know you're good at something. So Matt said, hey, why don't we just do a webinar, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth's at, or is, not at, and just kind of give back a little bit. So this is going to be a total no-pitch webinar. We're not selling anything. This is really just Matt answering as many questions as we can over the next hour. So for the LCT side or anybody else registered who doesn't, is not familiar with Matt, Matt is literally one of the best SEOs on the planet, top affiliate SEO out there. So he's got just a wealth of knowledge. I'm super excited to be here. My entire role is to hopefully ask your questions as best as I can and hand them over to Matt to answer. So with that, I will turn it over to Matt Diggity.
All right. Yeah, and just to touch upon what Brian said, yeah, I live in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and every week we have a weekly gathering. We just call it the SEO co-working session, where we just sit down and do our work together. There's no presentation, there's no motivation behind any of it, just to all work in the same spot. And if it happens to be the chance that someone's running SERP Shaker and for the first time and someone else is in the room doing it, then easy, like we just collaborate and help each other. And I really feel it's just as Brian said, to really get good at something, you got to get to the point where you can teach each other people clearly and effectively, and it just takes you to a mastery point, which is why I'm all about networking together and just making sure that I'm giving back as much as I'm getting in from this industry as well. So thanks, guys, for showing up. I'm here to answer any of your questions. I think so. The format will be just go ahead and on the right-hand side for a GoToWebinar, there should be a question box. So any question that you have, just go ahead and type it in there. We'll take them in order, and Brian will read them to me and vet through them. And then, yeah, hopefully by the end of the hour, we'll be able to address most of this stuff, and I hope you guys get some value. All right, you want to get this started, Brian?
Hey, sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
All right, cool. So I'm just kind of working through some of the questions. Give me a second here because I got to get through a few of the initial hello from Orlando's, and we've got people from Hawaii. Got what's up, homies. So I'm getting to the actual questions here.
Shout out to Dane. What's up, Dane?
Yeah, my buddy
What's
Dane.
up, Mike Clute?
Hawaii. Dane was cool. I never met Dane. He's like, hey, come on out and hang out with me in Hawaii, so that's cool. All right, I'm trying to get to the questions here. We got all kinds of greetings. Scrolling. Give us a second, guys. We are getting there. Oh, there's a lot of introductory comments. All right, guys, start shooting away with your questions here. Okay, question. All right, creating content pages on a blog versus a website page. Is there a noticeable difference in rankability?
All right, it's a really common question I get a lot. I'll just echo this question back to you to make sure that I understand it clearly and that other people understand it as well. So the question is, like, if I'm going to make a page that I want to, or page or post or any article that I want to rank, is it better to do it on the WordPress page format or the WordPress blog format?
Yep.
Well, okay, so here's what I go with. I go with pages, and the reason why is because just full customability, right? When you're doing blog posts, you have a bunch of artifacts that come with WordPress that are convenient for blogs, but they're not convenient for control. So you're going to end up with your article that's in the categories, the tags, the archive, and all this stuff, which you can easily no index, and that's fine, but it just does give it a little sloppiness to it. But the big part about it is why I would use pages is because of hierarchical builds. Let's say, for example, you make a website about laptops. What are the best laptops? And then you make another subpage about what is the best gaming laptop. And then you make another subcategory beyond that about which are the best gaming laptops for FPS games, right? So if you were doing this in a post format, you would have, I don't know, 10 different reviews on FPS games. And then you would just display that category. They would all be categorized at that level. So it would go, you know, gaminglaptops.com or laptops.com/gaming/FPS, right? And you'd get those 10 reviews right there. So what do you do at the gaming level? Because everything is just categorized by category. So at the gaming level, you would simply have all those same reviews of the 10 FPS games at the gaming level, plus, I don't know, our MMO game laptops and whatever, adventure game laptops, etc. So you don't really have a chance to customize what comes under the gaming level. You don't get to write any static content that it's always going to stay there. It's always just going to be a list of the individual product reviews. And that's a little bit sloppy, right? Like, I want to have static content that'll always be there no matter what new gaming laptop comes out. You don't get that with the post format. I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. Hopefully that helps. Okay, let's move on to, we got another question here. You've been hinting at the golden ratio in regards to social media and the impact it has on SEO. Do you care to give a sneak peek?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the golden ratio is pretty simple, and I think most people understand the 80-20 of it. And if you think about things, what's the #1 ranking signal in Google's algorithm in terms of offsite SEO? It's backlinks. It always will be backlinks. Google is Google because they invested in links as being the ranking signal. It's a pretty good indicator on whether something's popular or not. But backlinks are really rare in the real world, right? If you think about it, like, if any of you guys have any real blogs, like, I'm not talking about SEO stuff, but like maybe you have a brick and mortar business, how often do you link to other sites during the course of the year? Like 3-4 times maximum? But at the same time, how often do you post something on Facebook? Now, some of you guys are posting daily, and some of you guys like to have PM me daily. So I know you guys are definitely active on Facebook. So here's the thing. If a site is getting backlinks, it very damn well better be talked about on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. So that's the first part of the golden ratio. There needs to be more social signals than backlinks. But the second part of it is not very well understood in general SEO spheres, which is you need something to justify the occurrence of the social signals and the backlinks together. And that simple thing is traffic, right? It's very easy to conceptualize this, right? Because let's say, for example, you build a backlink to a website, you've at least sent one visit to that website. You're never going to link to something you didn't visit at least once. Same with social signals. If you post a funny cat video on Facebook, it's because you've watched that funny cat video. So there's always needs to be more social signals than links, and then more traffic than social signals, and that gets the whole engine running. If you're violating this ratio, it's just going to slow down your rankings or potentially draw a manual review.
Yeah, that's a great explanation, and that's something that I didn't really understand myself. You know, not that I blast sites with links, but just understanding that whole you know, need for more traffic. And really, if you think about it, it's so it's kind of common sense, right? It's like, but as SEOs, we just don't think in those terms sometimes. Not that we don't have common sense, but it's really just makes perfect sense that you have to have traffic coming to your website, or nothing else would follow. And so, you know, that's a cool explanation. That's the first time I heard that was from you, so I really like that. Glad somebody asked that.
Yes, and there's nothing to blame on SEOs. I mean, in our world, backlinks fall off trees, so
yeah.
it doesn't seem like a rare thing, right? But yeah, we just have to think in terms of the algorithm sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, let's get into the next question, which is, how do you make sure that your PBN tests are not faulty? Ooh, Matt, stinger. All right, go for it.
Yeah. So the faulty PBN test is all about picking a proper test case. So if you read my blog post, the way I'm choosing test cases is I find some kind of test case which is ranked somewhere on page 2, 3, or 4. It has some keyword on page 2 or 3 or 4, and this website hasn't had links in years, right? So by mere merit of being on page 2, 3, or 4, Google likes the site. Something is going good for it. It just doesn't have enough juice to be higher than where it is. And then by merit of the fact that it hasn't had links in 2 years, then it doesn't have any outside external variables that are going to mess up my test result. As if you send a link from a PBN to a target test case and it goes up, you need to be able to ensure that it didn't get a link from somewhere else. Or if the result goes down, like how are we sure that it didn't get a negative or a toxic link from somewhere else? So you just need to have a very, very like isolated test case. And yeah, like 90% of the time, sometimes you will get a negative result. Don't think that the show is over at this point. Give it another 20 to 30 days and see if it's just the algorithm messing with you.
Cool, good advice. All right, so the next question, Matt, is what would you do if you needed to start over and you only had $500 to start? What would you do?
$500. That's so rough.
Insane mind that would last you like a year, right?
Yeah, that is like 400,000 meals here. Yeah, that's really tough because in SEO it takes money to make money, right? I mean, you can still probably get things going, but oof, that's real rough. I guess I would just use that $500 as lead gen to get clients, and then try to get $1,000 monthly revenue right off the bat with a client. And yeah, because $500 is not going to be enough to write content for an affiliate site. It's not going to be enough to start a PBN. It's not going to be enough to buy backlinks anywhere. So you might have to, if you wanted to go affiliate, you'd have to write it all yourself, and I'm just too lazy for that.
Yeah, I think it could be done, but yeah, it's more like what's the fastest way I think to get back on your feet, which is, like we're usually in a position where you don't want to be doing everything yourself. You want to outsource, and have things written and all that stuff. So I think it probably could be done, but you'd really have to knuckle down and do a lot of that stuff yourself.
Yeah.
And basically sit around, I would think, right? And wait for, let's say you did an affiliate site for it to rank, to have money start to come in.
With a $500 budget, you better be ready to wait for like a year.
Wait for a while. Yeah. Yeah, and on the local side, you could do like cold email outreach, but you've got to have your copy chops down to be able to land a client.
Yep.
Just not trying to like give you guys like no hope that it couldn't happen, but I think you'd have to really just kind of try a bunch of different things and go for it. All right, moving on. Let's see. Cool. Somebody gave me a little shout out. I appreciate that. Someone said they bought my Maps course load. I appreciate that, Mike. All right. So, okay, Matt says, let's see. Thanks for taking the time to hold this, guys. I really appreciate it. I watched the video of you, Matt, and Daryl a week ago from a year back where you laid everything out. Do you still advise working out the average anchor text density and building links accordingly, exact PBN, partial PBN, then Web 2.0 for miscellaneous URLs? Cheers.
Okay, okay, let me elaborate on that stuff. So there's two parts to this question, like what am I doing for anchor text ratios and how to figure out what kind of anchor text to send to my site. Yeah, I'm still using that same process, but I think one big misconception that people have, at least I get a lot of emails about this, is like people want to get it perfect, right? People want to like absolutely define like what's the actual definition of a target anchor, and what do I do about this guy? I know he's hiding PBNs, and what do I do about this, and that? At the end of the day, like we're just looking for guidance, right? It's not going to be accurate at all. you will not even be able to tell whether or not a link has been disavowed or not, so whether or not Google counts it. So just go in and analyze the number 1 guy, the number 2 guy, the number 3 guy. If the number 3 guy looks like he's hiding PBN, skip it. Go to number 4. Just don't really worry about the fine details. You're just looking for guidance, and you're looking for weird anomalies. Like if a niche is asking for 40% topic anchors, that's pretty weird, and that's what you're trying to uncover. So I am still using the same thing, but there are caveats behind it. And the second part, I think you were asking about like link diversity, like where am I getting links from? I don't mess with any like free links. I don't mess with Web 2.0 blog comments, anything like that. I simply get links from PBNs and outreach and citations. Every once in a while I'll toss in a high quality press release, but that's about it. Just keep it simple. Link with links that 90% of the real world links from, and you'll get a good result. When you mix in weird stuff, it just takes longer. You have more unknowns in your system that you're going to have to debug later. I mean, 6 months down the road, when your site gets stuck, do you really want to have to worry about, okay, what happened to these 20 Web 2.0s that get de-indexed and these 13 blog comments that I'm not really sure about, they just now got spammed? Like, wouldn't it be much nicer if you just had to worry about PBNs, outreach, and that's it? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't want to have to mess with all that other stuff. Just trying to, especially, I mean, I love Web 2.0s. They definitely have their place, but it's hard to get them indexed in the first place, and a lot of them get shut down if you don't keep enough content rolling with it. It can be a little bit of a pain. So, cool. All right, let's move on. Let me scroll down a second. Give me 1 second, Matt. Okay, so looks like we have an Australian question. So how would you, or do you rank in Australia, google.com.au regarding PBN links, or links in general, I guess, given that it's very hard to find .com.au links? Does that, I guess the question is, does it matter really? Can you rank with straight up .com PBNs or other links without having the AU extension?
Yeah, you can. I used to rank in Australia for the solar lead gen niche, and that's pretty cool over there. But anyways, how we did it was mostly just .com, .net, .org PBNs, and then mixed in citations from .com.au. You do need those TLDs, the country-specific TLDs, but you can accomplish it with just citations. The problem is you need to get your content in Australian, and no one understands that stuff.
I know, no shit. I still can't figure that out. I've been on calls with people. You probably have too. It's like that accent. I love you guys in Australia. I'm just kidding.
Just playing, man.
Yeah, and to follow up on that question, like I know you're kind of a big advocate of just tier 1 only links. So what's your thought about? Let's say you had that situation in Australia where you have citations. Would you hit the citation source that has the AU extension with a tier 2 kind of link that from a .com.net, and do you think that would help?
Probably not the citation, because I think it is a little bit unnatural. Like, why would a Yelp listing be link worthy, for example? But I would do some outreach, and it's probably pretty easy to get a link from an Australian blog and then hit that in the back with PBN.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, awesome. So moving on here. Let me scroll a little bit, guys. Sorry. I'm the chief scroller in charge here. Okay, so what is the best format for Amazon comparison tables? What are the columns that you use to compare button placements and colors that you found to convert the best?
Who asked this question?
This is Eric Ellis.
Eric, I love answering CRO stuff. Thank you for getting me ungeeky for a little bit. Okay, so for tables, here's a whole bunch of cool shit I'm going to drop on you. Okay, first of all, in the left-hand column, you want to have, basically the name of the product, a picture of it, and also have your CTA in the left-hand column. I don't know if you noticed this, but most tables are unresponsive, or at least it's very hard to get them to work out. And so, like, for example, like TablePress has some issues when it's displayed on mobile, and even Thrive Themes is kind of clunky when it's displayed on mobile. And what happens when you have a table is that if you put the CTA on the right-hand side, that's bleeding off the page and no one can click on it, right? So put it in the left-hand column to make sure that's even visible to your readers that are looking at it on mobile. And then on top of that, what else you can do is, like, let's say you're doing a top 5 review. Now, what I usually do is you'll have various statistics for the product. Let's say they're blenders, right? The blenders might have ratings, like 1 to 5 ratings in different categories, like price, durability, quality of juice, and stuff like that, and then an overall score. So you should have your first one just be a home run. Like, your first one is just like, it's just across the board, it's really good at everything, but it has the highest price. It's the most expensive one. Now you're gonna use this one to kind of trap in the people that just want to buy the best thing on the planet. I don't care about the price. I just want to make sure I buy the best one. Now that's how you're going to get these readers. And then the guy in second place is going to have something a little bit different. Second place, you're going to drop the price down, for example. It's going to be the best value for the money. The third place one is going to be the most durable. It's got the best guarantee. The fourth place one is going to produce the best juice, but it's a little bit more expensive. So now when someone sees that table, no matter what kind of person they are, whether they're a cheapskate, the one that wants the best, they're going to find what they're looking for. Now here's the kicker. In the 5th place position, you take a crap on whoever's the last product. You just really dump on it, and that gives you that credibility. It looks like, okay, it isn't just a site that's going to say everything is great. They actually have a harsh review for one of the products, so I kind of trust these guys a little bit more. And that's how I basically set up my tables. I mean, there's some more nuances into that, but it's beyond the scope of this webinar.
Yeah, that's a good answer. All right, so Norby's asking, can anyone join your weekly meeting? I'm assuming he means in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, absolutely. Show up, bring a laptop, that's it.
Cool. Do you guys meet different places, or is it kind of a consistent place that you go?
Yeah, it's the same place every time, Healthy Bee Cafe. They got good Wi-Fi, and they serve bacon straight up.
Oh, so, dude, can you get better than that? I mean, if they handed you beer and bacon, that would be pretty cool. But okay, so we got a question. Someone's saying, I heard you are releasing a course. Could you give some more details on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's in the works. We've started filming stuff now. It's basically what I'm covering is just 100% affiliate SEO. So front to back, how to pick niches, keyword research, do on-site SEO, off-site SEO, CRO, what to do when your sites get stuck. It's the full front to back thing. When it's going to be released, I'm not really sure, but actually what we're looking to do is to work with Brian and LCT and have them cover an agency part of the course and some other guys to toss in everything. So we wanted to really cover everything, like Facebook ads, white hat outreach. So it's going to be an all-in-one source for anything you want to do in SEO. But when the release is, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's something we've talked about working together for quite a long time, and thought it would be a good idea. We don't really have more details than that at this point, but it'll be a showstopper. Let's put it that way. When it comes to SEO, it's going to be kind of like every type of proper tactic you can think of to really get ranked. So I think it's going to be awesome. So good timing on the question. Let's see. Let me roll down here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so someone has a question about using PLR content. Assuming I have a site that has unique PLR content for Facebook pages and Pinterest. I'm not sure what that is, but well, I mean, I know what they are, but I'm not sure why you would use PLR content, but maybe you would. Obviously, the PLR won't rank, but will it have any effect on the unique contents of the rankings, I think they're saying. So I think the question is, would you use PLR content for Facebook pages and Pinterest? Would that have any impact, or is there any reason to do that?
I don't really know, to be honest, Brian. Like, I don't like to comment on anything that I haven't tested or experienced myself. Sorry. I'm not
100% sure on that. I would think if you're rolling into Facebook, Pinterest, and all that other stuff, you're getting into the realm of social signals, and that point, probably just buy social signals packages from like PBN Butler and stuff like that, right?
I really just don't know. I don't.
Yeah. If you want to elaborate, and it's Stephen asked the question. Stephen, if you want to kind of give us a little more detail on what you're looking for, I can try to get back to that one. Okay, so somebody said, or is asking, for affiliate marketing, especially to do very well, finding the right niche seems to be the key. Let's see, expressed as a percentage, how much, it sounds like a game show, Matt, expressed as a percentage, and you're an engineer, how much of the total work is done just by finding the right niche?
What is 90%, Brian? No. I thought it was a game show. No, it's really quite everything. I mean, how to say that? I mean, if you find the right niche and you can't rank it, I mean, obviously it means nothing, but put it like this, like I have some niches, or I've been in some niches that have been just as hard to rank as Garcinia Cambodia. Garcinia Cambodia is what I consider to be the right niche. So, I mean, Garcinia in its heyday was making, you know, 50K a month. We had some $3,000 days, and I mean, that was great. But it was equally as challenging as ranking some Amazon sites. So it really is everything. And it's also the most challenging part of affiliate SEO as well, because, I mean, how can you really uncover niches like this that are both on one side lucrative and popular, and on the other side rankable, right? It's real hard, and it's a full-time effort for me. What I can say is just like try to reverse other sites that you can figure out are doing well. Do stuff like listen to shit that Tim Ferriss says. You know, that usually starts to blow up. I really wish I could give like more answers on that. I do talk about it in the course, but you know, it's a skill and it takes a long time to build.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I will say on the local side, you would be absolutely shocked. The clients that I've dealt with on the map side, the people that I know that make the most money are in the weirdest freaking niches, or niches, as you guys would say in the UK and above. Like stuff you would never think of. That's really, it would seem to be really little, but it's so non-competitive, where they've gone out and they've just owned the entire space. Like there might be a lead broker that buys all your leads, and it's that kind of stuff where there's no competition, but also a nice market for it, that you have to find that intersection. I mean, that's where the money lies, really. Probably really in local or affiliate.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So good question. All right. So where do you see SEO in the next 2 to 3 years?
2 to 3 years. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think its lifetime is going to depend completely on how fast the AI progresses over at Google, because eventually the AI will just be so smart that it's just going to depend on whether or not you have actually the right content. If the AI is smart enough to just look at the page and not have to rely on backlinks and social signals and all that, then a lot of the variables that we have control with are out of our control now. And then I think it'll just be a war of who can get the best writers to write the longest content and structure your site together in a way that the AI likes the best. Now I'm talking like maybe 3 to 4 to 5 years ahead of time. Who knows how fast this will advance. But I think in the meantime, like, I don't know, I'm definitely not even diversifying right now. I think right now it's a gold rush for SEO, especially because, you know, shit gets harder, right? That just weeds out competition. And for people that are in the know, that are testing, that are constant R&D going on to figure out how things work and how we can adapt, it's actually getting easier for these kind of folks. So I'm happy with it, and I'm not even looking at Bitcoin right now, for the love of God. So yeah, I'm really focused in affiliate SEO right now, and SEO in general.
Come on, you gotta like roll half your cash into Bitcoin for sure. I'm a proud owner of $149 worth of Bitcoin. I opened an account last week, and they literally blocked me like so fast. It was ridiculous. I had this huge max on this credit card, and I got blocked at $149. So right before it went up to like $4,400, I was like, shit, what's going on?
Well done.
We're not supposed to swear in these webinars. I'll edit that out. I apologize. Okay, so I will not edit that out. I'll probably like triple down on the shits. All right. Do you see any problem with using PBN on money sites that are Google sites?
That are Drupal?
Google sites. Actual, like if you create the Google site, do you see any problem using like sending PBN?
Oh, Google sites.google.com.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mess with that stuff. I don't like Google properties. I don't like any property that I don't own.
Yeah, to me it seems a little dangerous. What do you think? Like, I mean, we know that they can see a lot of stuff anyway, but the more control we have to hide that footprint, I think the better. That's a little sketchy to me.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure.
Probably could work, but who knows? All right. Do you see any problem with using PBNs on money sites that are? Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that one. Let me scroll down one more time.
Google sites?
Exactly. What was that movie? They repeat themselves. Okay. When purchasing expired domains to use for affiliate site, how can you tell if the domain is good to use or is not penalized? This would be for an expired domain with good trust flow, citation flow.
Yeah, so, okay, well, expired domains is, like, you're already gone wrong at that point. If you're going to repurpose an old site for a money site, don't get them from expired domains. Make sure it doesn't have much, if any, of a drop history. So as soon as it's dropped, like, I find the success rate on resurrecting an old domain for a money site gets almost negligible. So what you need to do is just make sure you're getting them from a non-drop source.
So basically like auction sites and stuff like that. Is that where you recommend getting most of your sites from?
A lot of auctions are passed around a lot and have a ownership history that's changed 10, 20 times, like if it's even like 3 years old. So I don't know. Try brokers, try different brokers, and I mean, you can always try to. I mean, the best way to do it is just buy direct. Like, ask people, hey, you want to sell your site?
Yeah, I've done that before. Like, I'll just reach out to somebody where I know it's a decent site with good metrics, and I'll just hit them up, especially if it's sitting down on page 5 and I know they're not getting much traffic to it. It's like, hey, don't hand it over. A lot of times people put up a site with good intentions and then they haven't touched it in a long time. You can tell. Just look at their blog content. If they haven't blogged in a long time, they're typically uninterested. And they might let that go for super cheap. Just check the metrics at that point. And, all that other good stuff. The links are more important than the metrics. But
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So we recently bought a 1.5-year-old site with excellent on-page SEO, 5,000 uniques a month, but 0 backlinks, no domain authority. The site is making $200 a month through Amazon Associates. Our plan is to follow the Diggity model. I didn't know you had a model. Of press release, social signals, backlink building to increase traffic. I'm getting to the question. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to start with 10 quality links over 1 month. Can you see any room for improvement with that plan? It's Diggity's model. There's no room for improvement.
I think you're talking about the backlink blueprint, which is designed for new sites. The improvement is that you don't have a new site. So this model is a bare bones model for something that's just starting off. You can just go faster. You have enough age on the site to link faster. Of course, this is the first links that this site is getting, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden this 1.5-year-old site just couldn't go viral. So I don't know. I would just link faster than that guide and mix in some outreach too.
Sounds good. Cool. All right, so we have Austin saying, Matt, can you, tell if an expired domain has been penalized?
Once you register it, you can, try searching for its own name in Google, and it should be on page 1. You can also try, like if the domain is domain.com, try searching for domain space com, and it should rank on page 1 as well. Load up Google Search Console, look for the penalization there, and if everything checks out, you're probably in good space.
Yeah, exactly. Although you're saying basically expired domains are not the greatest source anyway.
For money sites, they can sometimes work for PBNs.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Where do you see the most potential in the next few years? Pay-per-lead, client SEO, affiliate SEO, etc.
Who knows? I don't. Yeah. I have no idea how to answer that. I'm not sure. I think the best way to look at that kind of thing is just keep an open eye and don't really get yourself hopeful about something like back to Bitcoin, right? Like, who knows what the future is going to bring, and everything is going to change faster and faster. Like, there could be a whole new form of SEO that doesn't exist right now that could be out next month. So I think instead of like going all in on something, keep your eyes open. Like, even I do a little bit of client SEO right now because who knows what'll happen? Like, what if a whole new industry shows up because of like this cryptocurrency type stuff, and then all these new businesses need SEO and they'll pay anything for it because they're bleeding money out their ears. Like, you need to keep your eyes open for all opportunities.
Yep. I've been telling my clients this for 7 years, that you should treat Google and anything else as sort of a gift, and just like the stock market, you should diversify. So as SEOs, we should do the same thing. We should diversify, and don't spread yourself so thin that you can't do any one thing well. But with that said, I think it's important to do things like have a little portfolio of affiliate SEO stuff that you're doing, and a little portfolio of pay-per-lead or client SEO, and figure out what you're good at, what you like, what's making you the most money. But don't get trapped into any one thing, because if anything changes, you could lose everything. So, but if any one thing changes and you're diversified, you're golden, right? You're always going to be in good shape. So just keep that in mind, really, with anything. That's kind of like why Matt and I talked and LCT talked, because there's such a sort of a mindset out there that, hey, I want to just focus on one thing. And Matt, is a big believer in kind of like what we just talked about, just diversify like crazy. Like, learn everything, dabble in different things, and then get good at what you're good at, but don't count on it. All of what Google hands us is a gift, right? I mean, we work at it. It's not like they're not like wrapping something and saying, here you go. But they could take it away at any minute. So you've got to have enough knowledge to do different types of SEO or different types of lead gen in general. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. So moving on, let me scroll a little bit here and I'll get to the next question. Okay, so how does rank tracking affect SEO? Each time a rank tracker runs, it collects impressions so that will affect the click-through rate. Is Google smart enough to realize that this bot traffic and discount that impression count?
My advice is don't bother yourself with questions like these. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I agree. Don't rely on rank trackers too much, because they're not always totally, at least with maps and stuff I've seen, they're not that accurate. They're definitely just like a tool to help, and don't worry too much about that stuff. All right, what ratio of your backlink profile should be follow versus no follow?
Just look at the niche, right? So when you're doing your anchor text analysis and you're trying to figure out how many like URL, target, and whatever branded anchors to send, like if you're using Ahrefs, it just shows you straight up. There's a box on the right-hand side that tells you follow versus no follow, and also textual versus image, and just follow what it says right there. Take the average of the top 5 rankers.
Cool. Good advice. Let's see. Mike Kloop is saying, how did you guys meet? I'm assuming he means you and I. Well, we went on a date one time, and then I bought way too many drinks, and the rest is history. I mean, that's about it.
Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder, exactly. I swiped left, actually, I think, in Thailand. We've known each other for a couple of years, just kind of like chatting off and on, and then we met for the first time in person at the LCT Live event this year. But we've known each other for a few years, and you've known Mark, I think, even longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not as good a story as my Tinder story, but we'll go with it. All right. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little more here, Matt. Sorry, I'm getting old and blind at the same time, which is not good. I'm putting in a lot of effort into my PBNs, but when I test them, I only see 50% of them giving a ranking increase. Is this normal?
Depends where you're getting your PBNs from, and how you're setting up, and how you're using them. Okay, so I didn't tell you anything right there, but I can just say this. At the beginning of the year, everything was going good with PBNs. And then around March, April timeframe, like I started seeing results like you are. Actually a little bit worse, a little bit less of a pass rate than what you are. And I'm sure whoever asked this question, you're also probably seeing not just that they're not showing positives, but sometimes they're just tanking the site that they're linking to. So Google's sniffing on our tails right now. Like, is that a saying? Google is catching up. They're nipping at our heels.
It is now.
They're nipping at our heels is what I meant to say. So I went into a hardcore R&D session and basically took a couple months, over 300 PBNs to figure out a bunch of stuff. And while I can't tell you everything, I have a business that relies completely on this IP that I figured out. But one hint that I can give you is try to make content continuous. So the site used to be about subject ABC. Take some of that content and bring it over into your PBN when you repurpose it. So the best way to get a good result is use a Wayback Archive. But 99% of the time, those are going to be crappy, and there's going to be a bunch of broken links. Images are all messed up. Like, it's not going to be a good result. So what you do in that case is, let's say, for example, the old site used to be about a fishing bait shop, right? And you've taken that and you've turned it into, I don't know, a sports PBN, something like that. Now, take that old content that used to be on the homepage of the fishing bait shop and make it your first post on the new PBN. So a nice trick to increase your 50% pass rate to maybe 60, 70 is to make more continuous content. That's all I can leave you with.
Cool. All right, let me scroll down a little bit and we'll get to the next one here. So we have Mark asking, do you think press releases are appropriate for local business SEO? If yes, what kinds of topics are good? New products, new locations being serviced, anniversaries, like example, 9 years serving X city. What are your thoughts on press releases?
I think they're fine, but you need to look at what the other people are doing to rank in page one. And if you're in a situation where the people ranking page one only have a few amount of links, then a press release is a bad idea because you're about to get 200 links syndicated all over the place. Now you're going to look like the black sheep on page one. So just look at the niche and see whether it's appropriate. Do you need a whole bunch of links in order to rank? And the second part of that is like, what kind of topic? Like, I don't know. I don't think it matters. Like, just it doesn't really matter.
Agreed. If you've got a situation in local where it's pretty competitive, let's say it's a personal injury attorney in some big city, and it's not uncommon to have hundreds and hundreds of links, it's probably very appropriate and a good way to kind of pillar your site. But in general, Matt's right. I mean, there's certain niches in local where you can rank at the top organically with just a handful of links, and suddenly you've got all these syndicated links. Good Lord, you're going to stand out. So be a little careful with, like, in other words, like, not every, even though we talk about this stuff, you guys have to really be mindful of the fact that you don't need to apply it every time or all of it every time. It's kind of like you have to really dig into what are other people doing and blend in a little bit. You don't want to stand out so much that you're overdoing things, I would say.
Right. Hey, Brian, I have a question for you real quick.
Well, definitely. I mean, since our Tinder relationship ended, I've been waiting for you to text me, but I haven't heard anything from you.
When is the last time you fed your cat, bro?
I know, you're hearing that. I was like, good Lord. God, I was hoping you wouldn't hear that. He's like, way. Yeah, he gets fed all the time. He's a whiny cat.
Okay. Carry on.
Right. That's funny. All right. Let's see. Sorry, some people have some kind of broken questions here that are mixed into two parts. I'm trying to find that. Is there a difference with checking backlinks through Majestic on HTTPS and HTTP?
Just use the root, like whatever the root is. I haven't used Majestic in a while, but just look at domain.com and pull that out. I think you're asking like if it's at the URL level, so you will need the HTTP part. I don't know. Just take a look. Just plug in the HTTP and the HTTPS and see if it has a different result. If it doesn't, then just merge them together, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I usually just drop the root in without all that stuff, and it gives me most of the results that I want. But there are differences sometimes, obviously. Okay, so when we start a new site, what type of first anchor text should we use initially? Exact match, brand, URL anchors, etc.
Just go. I don't know. I don't really think it really matters, but the superstition just tells me to go non-aggressive. So not anything non-target.
So don't hit the exact matches, like do more brand and naked URL, stuff like that.
I mean, like it's like something like, do I really want to test this? Like, it's not going to really. If I do start off with the exact match anchor text, it's not like, oh goodness, this site is going to like rank in like a month because it started so strong. Like, but on the other hand, like, what if it is something that just puts a stain on your site? So it's like, I don't even want to test it really.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get there, right? It's like ease into that stuff and then hammer it eventually with a nice exact match or partial match. And, but no need to do that right off and then get sandboxed when you're sitting there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so this looks like a little bit of a lengthy question. Let me make sure I have this right. All right, you're saying run us through your processes for, I'm not sure you can do this, but I'll ask anyway. For developing, what are your processes basically for developing SOPs, and maybe some example of what processes of things you document that most SEOs wouldn't think of documenting that you would find valuable?
Okay, so two-part question. What do I do to develop SOPs is exactly the theme of this meeting, like when you master or when you take something to the level of being able to teach it yourself or explain it to other people, then you really get mastery for that. So what I try to do is, like, whenever I'm teaching a new process to someone, is I teach it to them face to face, or maybe it's over Skype or something like that, and then I ask them to write the SOP. I want them to make a step-by-step process, because I tell them that later on you're going to be teaching this to someone else. Now the script is flipped. Now people feel, okay, there's some big pressure on me now to make sure that I understand this clearly. Matt's going to review it. Someone else needs to be taught it, and I better get this right, because if I don't write this clearly, I'm just going to have to hold someone's hand over and over again when I'm teaching someone else. So that's how I approach SOPs and stuff like that. In terms of what I record, that might be weird. What don't I record?
Yeah, more
I track
useful than when. Yeah, that's true. You test everything, track everything, right?
Yeah.
So cool. All right, good question. I like that process. By the way, on SOPs, I may steal that process, because I'll tell people things, or I'll teach them, or I'll train them during coaching sessions, or even people that will go through my course and stuff like that. And I think I've been very clear, and then we'll get on a phone call and they'll say, I did this, this, and this, and I'll say, hang on a second. And I'm like, I think you skipped these 5 parts, right? And so it's great when they learn themselves and they can kind of echo that back to you, when it's exactly right. Then you know you've really, they've mastered it. I think that's a great way of doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So our friend Daryl with the long beard asked that, my buddy Daryl. He was fun out in Vegas too, by the way. Okay, so with all the SEO changes in the past 5 or 6 years, has SEO gotten easier or harder?
Yeah, so in a way it's gotten harder, but in a way it's gotten easier, right? Like, it's not as simple as before, where you just load up GSA or anything and just spam the hell out of spam the hell out of your site with target anchor text over and over again, or use easing articles and like all these softwares. So in a sense, it's not easier because we have to be more clever, but this puts people like us and people that are in the know and joining like webinars and talking and communicating, networking in a great situation because, like I mentioned before, the competition falls off. And it's just a handful of people that are really doing good now. And since that makes it easier.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving on, we're gonna do a little more scrolling here. It looks like we've got about 5 minutes left, guys. This is set to run an hour. Matt, I don't know what your timing is, if you have time to run a little over or not.
Yeah, I can go a little bit over. I'm in no rush.
Okay, you just let me know. And all right, so someone's asking, how does the type of anchor text affect the power of the PBN link? I was wondering about co-occurrence with branded anchor text versus keyword-rich anchor text. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a good question. The reason I know the answer to this is because, as you guys probably know, I have a link rental service. And I care about my customers, so a lot of the time I'm tracking people's rankings and making sure they're getting good results. And this part of the reason why I'm, I guess, decent at SEO is because I got a lot of data, right? A lot of people are buying links and I can see what's going on there. And most of the time, a non-target or non-keyword rich anchor text, like a URL, branded, topic, miscellaneous, does not push the needle unless it's what the site needed. So if it was over-optimized, if it had way too much target anchor text, then and you sent a URL anchor text, it's probably going to be push the needle a little bit, but not like a big hockey stick, as if like you just sent your first target anchor text to a site. It's going to just look, boom, it's going to shoot up the rankings.
The no traffic boner, essentially, with that, is what you're saying.
You're not likely to see a traffic boner from a non-target anchor text. Maybe a traffic chubby.
That was my favorite thing that I learned, I think, all year is when I saw you post that you were excited to wake up to a traffic boner, and I saw one of your images. I think I laughed for probably 10 minutes on that. It's probably the last one that had seen that. I have a follow-up question, actually, to that one, because I actually don't know the answer to that. I know everybody, I think, in here knows about Diggity links. If you don't, those things are just freaking monsters, right? So you open them up, a few times a year. It's, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy to get in. You've got to kind of get in line and get in, kind of like this webinar, unfortunately. But they work, right? And so the question I had for you is, do you do any actual like SEO outsourcing besides your link rental service?
Oh, like any other services?
Yeah, do you do SEO outsourcing, whatever, like white labeling, anything like that?
Oh, yeah. So a couple different forms. One is through LeadSpring, which is like a JV affiliate program, so someone can apply, and if they got a site stuck at a certain point, maybe $5,000 a month, we would partner on it, and I would get it ranked higher, get it monetized better, and maybe we get it up to $10,000 a month, and then we split the profit. So that's one way to do it. But also this year I started working with the Search Initiative. It's like a really, really solid agency out of the UK, and I became a director for them, so I design all their SOPs and their ranking tactics and stuff like that, and they call me in for, when sites get stuck and when they need special advice on like how to fix a particular client. So in a sense, I guess I'm doing a little bit of client SEO as well, but yeah, not directly. You're not going to see me like logging into a WordPress site and fixing SEO title tags and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew obviously your link service and all that, but I didn't know if you did other. And LeadSpring is a cool thing. It sounds like you guys have done some miracle work there, which is really cool.
Fun.
All right. So moving on, let's see how many more questions we can get through here. What types of links should a backlink profile have to look as natural as possible? And I think you've kind of answered this, but maybe just kind of sum it up as far as.
Let me echo the question back. I'm not sure I understood it correctly. Just what's the best way to make a backlink profile look natural?
Yeah, exactly.
Just focus on the golden ratio, right? Like you need to have more social signals and traffic to justify the links. That's why you start off a site really slowly with backlinks, and then you can start to pick up and get a little bit more aggressive. So that's the big thing of like what I do is I start out with PBNs because I can completely control what the link velocity is at the beginning of a site, and then once things start to ramp up and once there's a lot of traffic coming to the site, then I'll start like an outreach campaign. And because those can flood in, especially if you're doing something like Skyscraper. And then the outreach campaign will help to diversify things and stuff.
Yeah, and that's an important point too. I think a lot of people, like I know, and maybe not as much in the affiliate world, I'm not sure, but in the local side, a lot of people get hung up on just PBNs and they're afraid to go after the outreach stuff because they don't understand that. And so that's something that at some point you want to learn the outreach side, because I'm seeing people get just amazing gains by knowing how to do outreach properly. I don't mean just going out and like buying, guest posts and stuff like that. I mean like legitimate outreach in combination with PBNs, but most local SEOs don't really go to that level, and sometimes it's like the one thing you need to get you over that hurdle. So I think it's important, again, on the topic of diversification, just to keep that kind of in your back pocket, so to speak. And PBNs are extremely important, but every once in a while you need to maybe hit it with a nice little outreach post that has some heavy hitting weight behind it, and add that to your arsenal, so to speak. So,
and to touch upon what you were saying about being intimidated by outreach, like let's just rewind to January this year. Like I never knew anything about outreach. I knew about it, but I never did it personally myself. And this is the value of like staying connected and having networks and like talking to people, and don't just be an SEO sitting in your room, like not communicating with anybody. Like around January timeframe, I was like, okay, it's finally time to start digging into this stuff. So I hit up my friends, hit up Gareth Simpson, Jesse Hanley, and I was on my feet doing outreach by the end of the month. Like it's really not that tough. I recommend like taking a course on it. Like there's a lot of nuances that you're probably not going to pick up just from an hour conversation with someone, but it's really not that hard. And now I just plug it into Ninja Outreach, and like it's probably like 10 minutes of work per day, and gaining hundreds of links every week.
Yep.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Shout out to those guys. It's if you guys don't know Ninja Outreach, Dave and those guys over there are do some really good work. So it's one of those things where just keep it as part of your arsenal. I know we're, as local SEOs, we're just sort of stuck in the mindset of, hey, we do press releases, social signals, PBNs, but I've personally crushed a lot of local sites by just adding that as part of my mix. And so keep that in mind. That's something that you'll want to think about. All right, so moving on, got a shout out, looks like, from Alberta. Thanks for the webinar. Awesome. Thank you, Tony. How do you check a domain penalty besides typing your site into Google? We kind of covered that earlier. You were saying going into Search Console, or and then what did you say, doing like a space in between the TLD? Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I mean, you can also just put in a long tail keyword into your rank tracker. If your site's trying to rank for like best juicer in 2017 and you're not even on page 8 for that, like right off the bat without links, then something's wrong with it.
I thought you should do that as an anchor text for your link service, best juicer 2017. Matt Diggity.
Will do.
Link juicer. Come on, everybody on this. Hopefully everybody on this call caught that. Terrible joke. All right, so what's the best way to do crowd searching now? Crowdsearch.me does not appear to be working, or is it even worth doing these days?
Okay, guys. Let's put it like this, right? At the end of the day, Google is a company that is really good at checking if people click shit, right? They have AdWords, right? And if people have found a way to manipulate AdWords to click on their own ads and steal money from Google and from other people, that destroys Google's own business. So probably Google is pretty good at click software detection. So that's my stance on it. I've seen people pull it off, and I've seen softwares pull it off as well in very isolated test cases and very isolated circumstances, but it's really, really hard to do. At this point in time, I don't think that there's a solution that can really do it at scale, so I'm not investing my time in it. So what I'm doing for traffic is simply just ranking higher, attacking more long tail, and in certain cases using like Facebook to drive traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never found that crowdsearch.me did a damn thing at all. I think it's just kind of natural, and who knows where those searches are actually originating from.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had like one good result with CrowdSearch.me, but that was a long time ago. I'm not really sure how it's doing.
Do you ever
use everything?
Do you ever recommend sending stuff like that to like PBNs to kind of mimic more real traffic going to a PBN, or would you rather just get real traffic to a PBN? Or does it matter even?
Just real traffic. Rank the PBMs themselves.
Yeah, like make them look like real sites.
Yeah, I don't think Google is going to be fooled on like fake traffic.
Yeah, that's my whole thing on it too. I mean, you guys you're dealing with a bunch of PhDs up in up in Mountain View, and you're not going to outsmart them. So it's stuff like that is I'm not sure it ever really worked that well. All right, do you have time for more questions? I know we're running over here. I don't want to.
Yeah, let's do two more, Brian.
Okay, cool. All right, two more questions. So I'm going to choose from the best. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so I have a couple of sites that have PBN links pointing to, and I have not done anything on them for over 3 months. No new links. I've noticed that they're still slowly climbing. The only thing I've done to improve the quality of the PBNs is, I think he's saying, with more content, social profiles, etc. Do you think the value of links improve as the PBN itself improves? So I think he's kind of saying like he's stepping up the game on the PBN side and making it, sending social signals and doing things like that to the PBN, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, well, I mean, just what I would say is to change your mindset on becoming, like, if you're trying to isolate the cause of your ranking increase, but you're trying to isolate it based on a system that has thousands of variables, and you're putting your money on one of the variables. It could also be the case that PBNs take longer than 1, 2, 3 months to fully kick in their value, which is definitely, I've seen that as well. So to answer your question, like, does it help the efficacy of a PBN and the power of a PBN to have like more content and more like trust signals behind it? Sure, yes, but is that the reason why you're increasing ranking? Who knows?
Yeah. Cool. All right, so one more question, and then, sorry guys, I know we've got like a ton of stuff queued up. If we didn't get to your questions, I really apologize. I know a lot of you got locked out. Maybe it's a good thing people got locked out, because there's probably about 50 more questions. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to do this again, Matt.
I'm down.
We'll have to figure this out. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe we can do another one sometime.
Sure.
How should a site with no? Well, let me get to a different one, because I think we've answered this one a couple of times. To look natural. Okay, Matt. All right. It says, potential stupid question, but have you had any experience in having a keyword? Article is about 3 months old, popping in and out of the SERP results on the first page, position say 6 through 8, then disappearing. No links have been built to the article yet, so I'm thinking some link juice will make it stick.
Okay, so your problem is Google's testing you higher, right? You're sitting down on page 5 or whatever, or page 3, and they're temporarily jumping you up to first page. So they like something that's happening with your site. Something is going right, something is going well with the on-site SEO, who knows what it might be, but you're failing the test when you're jumping up high. What that means is you don't have the user metrics. So whoever you replaced, when you jump from 50 to 5, you don't have nearly as good user metrics. They're bouncing from your page. You're not spending too much time on your page. Focus on that, and you'll pass the test, and you'll be able to stay higher.
What is that? Do you think that is more of like CRO stuff, or is just sending additional traffic sources, or what can kind of get you unstuck from that?
Mostly CRO. Like, I have a blog post coming out at the beginning of next month, and it has a lot to do with how to write a hook in your content and how to keep people on the page, how to make people feel like they're in the right place as soon as they get to your page. That's all really important for user metric type stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I see a lot of clients that just get stuck at the bottom of page one. It's because people aren't sticking around long enough on their site. And as soon as you kind of figure out the CRO elements, that can definitely help you stick around a lot longer if they're bouncing off to page two and then back up to page one over and over. There's a lot of that that goes on, and a lot of times it's user metrics, pure and simple. So. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much. Matt, I want to thank you very much for coming out. I think it's been hopefully very helpful to everybody. Again, I really apologize to everyone who got locked out. I promise I hit record. I cannot control GoToWebinar. Hopefully this thing recorded. But
I've also recorded it too, Brian, so we got to back up.
Cool. This has been fun. So maybe we can do this again sometime and queue up another stack of 200 questions.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words, Jane. Everyone, I hope you guys got value out of this. I'll try to schedule one of these coming up pretty soon. And yeah, remember the message behind this, like continue to help other people. There's people in Facebook groups that need help. You don't need to make them feel stupid for asking beginner questions. You get better, and also they get better. This isn't a zero-sum industry either. There's plenty to gain out of helping others. Just remember that.
I agree. We see that all the time, and LCT people go on the attack, and it's there's no dumb question. People are at different phases of their learning, and if you can leap in and help them, it's going to help you. You'll get better, they'll get better. There's plenty of business to go around, so just be nice to each other.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Take care. Thanks, Matt.
Bye-bye.